It's time to take a look at stories making the headlines in Nigerian newspapers. I have with me in the studio journalist Dari Odufowokon and Jide Ologun, lawyer and public affairs analyst. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Thank you for coming on TVC Breakfast. All right, we head straight to the papers, and I begin with the Daily Trust. Buhari, 1 trillion naira wasted on constituency projects in 10 years. Amount could finance Abuja-Lagos roads, others. 300 MDAs inflate projects by 18.624 billion naira. To the front page of the News Direct, Senate probes Genco's discourse over unsteady power supply. Power Committee to submit probe report in 4 weeks. On the front page of the Blueprint, Buhari, public sector corruption hinders service delivery, seeks speedy passage of special crimes court bill, orders ICPC to beam searchlight on MDAs, not IPPS. How politicians deal with empowerment projects. And on the front page of the Daily Times, Bayelsa governorship poll, Governor Dickson opens up on PDP's loss, says he went to Jonathan 16 times over consensus candidate, alleges APC forcefully took over state. Describes associating ex-president with Lion's victory as unfortunate. All right, to the front page of the Daily Sun now. Buhari hits the National Assembly, accuses lawmakers of squandering 1 trillion naira in 10 years, mandates ICPC to go after contractors, collaborators in government. And on the front page of the Vanguard, bloody Guba polls, PDP woman leader burnt to death. Home raised. Bello condemns act, orders probe. Police confirm incident, begin investigation. As Dickson tenders video evidence of rigging, poll violence in Bayelsa, we have no business with Dickson, APC. And finally, on the front page of The Guardian, how fake police overpowered 66,241 officers in Kogi, Bayelsa. Helicopter was on mission to scare troublemakers, says IGP. PDP kicks, says explanation speaks volumes. Dickson rejects results, says election was military coup. All right, gentlemen, let's look at this story on the front page of most of the stories this morning, and we'll take a look at it from the front page of the Daily Trust. The president speaking about 1 trillion naira being wasted by the National Assembly over 10 years on constituency projects, and he's asking for approval by the ICPC. Weighty allegations here, but then we've been talking about issues of constituency project, how impactful they have been, and he says this amount could have financed Abuja, Lagos, and other roads. I wonder what you make of the president's reaction to this issue. Jide, we'll start with you.
The president just expressed the obvious that some of us have been talking about, and it's quite interesting that it's coming to the open, because if the investments Nigerians have really pushed out there, go to where they should have gone, by now this country should be developed. And we're talking of 1 trillion naira in 10 years. I'm still traumatized by the fact that we spent 11 trillion naira in 6 years on fuel subsidy, because all these things are connected, because the impact, the negative impact is the poverty you have in the land, the infrastructural decay, and the big question is that for this purpose we have the government, and one of the key promises of this government was to fight corruption. And if you look at section 15 subsection 5 of the Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended, it says that the government shall abolish corruption and abuse of office. So it's still the responsibility of the government to fight corruption. And when the fight against corruption started, quite a number of us were impressed, but somewhere along the line we lost this team. And I can tell you there's a sustained corruption against this country, and if the president has identified this, then he should give instructions to...
Yeah, he has obviously given instructions.
And not just give instructions, but follow this up. And I think that is a challenge we have. When there are no consequences for this sustained corruption, people just get bold, we read about it, we can see the impact, and that's why The government is losing revenue, losing positive impact, while some are just enriching themselves, and by extension, perhaps that is the money they spend in making electoral processes bloody. It's a huge concern.
He has asked the ICPC to go after persons who are found culpable, perhaps in government that are aiding, go after contractors, go after those in government that are aiding, you know, that aiding these things such that people cannot feel the impact, Dari.
Want to go after those who are aiding? That'll be a wild goose chase.
Really?
Yes, because we will be wasting resources and time
And
when we can simply, we can simply ask those who took the money, those who superintended over the projects themselves. How did you go about it? It's a simple process. But when we begin to
making complex.
Yeah, we are beginning to make complex. Constituency project.
Yes.
For each federal constituency as an oversight under a particular honorable member. Look, if you know the massive fraud that is called constituency project, you pity this country. Over time, there is, I am part of a group of volunteers that have been working on the impact and otherwise of constituency projects on development in Nigeria. And what have we discovered? You discover a situation where some people take money from the government under the guise of constituency project. They have a prototype of what the project should be, a computer a computer skill acquisition center for each constituency to be built from the ground. Hall, offices, then solar panel to be built from the ground. Money is released for this purpose. And somebody goes into his constituency, look around for a public school, take just 1 or 2 classrooms there, convert it into the computer center. He collected billions of naira for, install a non-functional solar panel, and open it under funfair. With funfair and celebration, it is declared open. And you go there 2 months later. The solar panel is no longer working. All the computer sets, less than 40% of them are functional. He is expected to also put in place some operatives, staff there to be paid. They get there, it is always under lock and key. It is within a school compound. The schools around there have no access to it. The solar panel has collapsed. It is not connected to any electricity. And that is what billions of naira have been released for. Or a situation where you found, after taking billions of naira, a lawmaker decided to buy cooking gas in a rural community. Cooking a rural community where people still use firewood, where 90% of his constituents are in villages. Then he supplied cooking gas, got it from China or wherever, and shared cooking gas to a few in the semi-urban part of his... and then it is recorded somewhere that he has shared cooking gas of billions of naira to his constituents. Or a constituency project of school that, okay, we are going to erect blocks of classroom, written down, approved, prototype presented, and you go to where he was supposed to have done that. He just repaired 1 or 2 classrooms with no water, no toilet facilities, and then it is done.
We have established now that this is enshrined in corruption.
A terrible one under the guise of constituency project.
Because a bill is being pushed forward now for about 2.5% of the budget to reflect constituency projects.
Because they want to constitutionalize crime. And that is why some of us have been speaking out against this. There should be nothing called constituency project.
So it should be scrapped?
It should just be scrapped, because what we have had over the years is a system created by lawmakers to enrich themselves. And this has not got... And I want to appreciate President Muhammadu Buhari for speaking out. Successive governments have been asked to take action. They've not only failed to take action, they've also failed to condemn this practice for fear of
But we cannot just stop at condemning, like he said.
But he said he has invited anti-graft agency. What I fought in the statement is the area of going after contractors going after those who aided and
in government, when we can just
call the honorable members to come and account for
we should go back to management by objective. You see, we're talking about constituency project. What about the 10-point-something billion naira that was released to Kogi State before the elections? There are several issues in this country that are quite disturbing. Released for projects
of the federal government.
We are the projects.
Then that's for him to answer.
We were told that we have invested trillions of naira in massive infrastructure, and today we are complaining that we don't have roads in Nigeria. Where's the massive infrastructure? Is it in the spirit?
I think we should not mix these two up.
We should.
No, we shouldn't.
It's all about developing the
justifying the action
or
of this
mismanaging the resources of the country.
No. Two wrongs don't make a right.
I see a conspiracy in all the departments of managing this country in keeping us, you know, down from developing. But like I said earlier,
gentlemen,
the government has an obligation to fight corruption.
Absolutely, absolutely. That has been
corruption.
established.
That's right.
Thank you for your contribution, gentlemen, on the newspaper review.